All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something super fascinating, the literal anatomy of a fable. We're going to completely deconstruct a simple, 5-minute children's story called The Honest Little Boy. Now, on the surface, yeah, it seems like a pretty basic tale. But as we break it down, we're going to uncover the hidden structural and moral beats that make fables such an absolute powerhouse for communicating values. Our goal here isn't just to, sit back and read a story. We are dissecting its anatomy to see exactly how it ticks and how it teaches.
But before we even meet our main character, I've got to ask you something directly. What would you do if you found a lost wallet and it was just stuffed with cash and important papers? It's the ultimate classic moral dilemma, right? And let's be real, for a kid, that kind of cash looks like a lifetime supply of candy. By putting this question front and center, the story hooks us instantly. It literally forces us into the main character's shoes, so we have to wrestle with the exact same choice they're about to make. It perfectly bridges the gap between this made-up world and our actual real-life decisions.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1. Meet Honest Adam.
So the text doesn't waste any time at all. In just the first few sentences, we meet our protagonist, a young boy named Adam, who lives in this super peaceful village. And he's immediately defined by 3 core traits. He's honest, helpful, and respectful. Because fables need to be quick and punchy, the character development happens right out of the gate. By explicitly stating these traits up front and telling us that the whole village loves him for them, the story sets a really solid baseline. It basically guarantees that whatever Adam does next is going to make total logical sense to us. We know exactly who this kid is before the drama even starts.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Lost Brown Wallet. Now, every good story needs an inciting incident, right? For Adam, it kicks off on a beautiful, sunny morning. Just look at this rapid sequence of events that throws the plot into high gear. First, it starts completely mundane. He's literally just walking down the road to school. But then, bam, step 2, the disruption. He spots a brown wallet just sitting there on the ground. The pacing here is absolutely brilliant. The story slows down just a tiny bit to build some suspense around this discovery. But then, at step 3, Adam makes his move and takes it straight to his teacher. This immediately triggers step 4, the arrival of a very worried elderly man. The narrative velocity here is super efficient. It rockets us straight to the heart of the moral test.
Let's zoom in on that specific moment of discovery for a second. The text gives us this exact quote from Adam when he picks up the wallet. "Oh no, someone must have lost this." Notice how instinctual that is? He doesn't pause to count the cash. He's not dreaming about what he could buy. His very first thought is pure empathy for whoever dropped it. He looks around, sees no one, and because he knows it belongs to someone else, he marches it straight to his teacher. It is just a textbook example of show, don't tell. The story proves his honesty through his immediate, knee-jerk reaction. Which brings us to Section 3, making the right choice.
So Adam's made his choice. The teacher praises his honesty, makes a quick announcement to the village, and pretty soon, this very stressed elderly man shows up. And finally, the stakes are revealed. He explains he lost his wallet earlier that morning, and it didn't just have money, it held important papers too. The teacher hands it over, he opens it up, and just joyfully yells, "Everything is here, nothing is missing." The text specifically points out that he thanks Adam with actual tears of joy in his eyes. That huge emotional release really drives home the weight of Adam's simple action. He's so relieved that he immediately offers to reward the young boy.
But here is the absolute climax of our character's study. Adam politely turns him down, saying, "Thank you, sir, but I don't need a reward. Returning what belongs to someone else is the right thing to do." Wow, right? This is the moment where Adam's internal integrity just shines. He completely rejects an external prize. Because to him, being honest wasn't some special favor. It was just the basic expectation he has for his own behavior. And this brilliantly illustrates such a fascinating contrast in the text. Think about it. On one side, you have a tangible, physical reward, probably a good chunk of cash, offered by the grateful old man. But on the other side, you've got the intangible, internal satisfaction that Adam ultimately chooses. By setting up this choice, the story completely elevates the moral weight of what he did. It's telling the reader, hey, honesty isn't just some transaction you do to get a prize, it's a fundamental duty to the people around you. Let's explore that a bit more in Section 4, the true reward. So if the real reward wasn't the physical cash, what exactly was it? Well, watch how this act ripples through the whole community in a step-by-step cascade. Step 1, a quiet, private act of honesty where Adam hands over the wallet. Then, step 2, that act gets amplified when the teacher announces it to the village. Step 3, the old man gets his stuff back and his peace of mind is totally saved.
But step 4, that is where the magic happens. The text tells us that from that day forward, all the kids in the village wanted to be just as honest and kind as Adam. One single choice didn't just save a guy's wallet, it literally inspired an entire generation of kids in that town. The true reward was elevating his whole community. And that brings us to our final part, Section 5, the moral lesson.
You know, fables almost always bring in an authority figure at the end, just to make absolutely sure the audience doesn't miss the point. Here, it's the teacher. Smiling super proudly, the teacher turns to the room and says, "Children, honesty is one of the greatest qualities a person can have. Always tell the truth and always return what belongs to others." That right there, that crystallizes all the core themes we've been deconstructing. It grabs Adam's very specific action with the wallet and transforms it into a universal, easy-to-digest rule for the classroom and for us as the readers.
The crucial takeaway is then summed up right in the final lines. I mean, the script literally spells it out for us. Moral of the story, honesty is always rewarded. Be truthful, kind, and trustworthy wherever you go. It perfectly wraps up the narrative arc of this whole explainer. It reinforces the idea that the reward for being honest might not be a handful of cash like we saw with Adam. Instead, it's the trust, the respect, and the massive positive influence you can have on the world around you. It's essentially a lifelong blueprint packed into 2 simple sentences. So, what does this all mean for us? We've successfully deconstructed the mechanics of this story, sure, but the true power of any fable is how it sticks with the audience long after the story ends. So I want to leave you with this. How can you apply Adam's trustworthiness wherever you go? Whether you're at work, at school, or literally just walking down a sunny road, how are you going to handle your next big moment of choice? Thank you so much for joining me to break down this fascinating text. I really hope it leaves you with something great to reflect on today.